Hey there, Mr. Reddit here. Welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled Parent Stories. Our first story we'll be reading today, entitled Family Takes Our Toys and Makes the Mistake of Trying to Blame Us. After that, entitled Mother Wants Everyone to Speak English in Mexico. After that, I'm the comedian, but you're the joke. After that, getting yelled at, and then sweet revenge a year later. And after that, I don't even work at this Papa John's. Now Karen guaranteed me there was no way we would get 1,000 thumbs up on this video. So please prove her wrong by smashing that like button. And if you're new, please subscribe and turn on notifications for new stories from Reddit every single day. And if you want a custom message from Karen, visit Mr. Reddit on Fiverr, link below. And now on to our stories. Entitled Family Takes Our Toys and Makes the Mistake of Trying to Blame Us. Some backstory. I was 6 when this happened, and I was pretty good friends with the daughter of the entitled parents at that time. Daughter was pretty entitled as well. I had 6 dolls and a box I kept them in that I was pretty attached to. I had gotten them over the span of 2.5 years. Entitled kid played at our house quite a lot, so I didn't expect this to happen at all. On to the story. Our cast. We've got me. We've got my dad, my mom, we've got entitled dad and entitled mom, entitled kid, and the police officer. It was summer, and I asked my parents if entitled kid could come over. They said yes. A few minutes later, entitled mom and entitled kid arrived. Entitled mom started chatting with my parents, and entitled kid and me went to play in the backyard. I proudly opened my box of dolls. Entitled kid and I both took some dolls and played pretend. Skip to when entitled kid had to leave. This is what I remember the conversation being like. It could be a little off. Entitled kid. Can I keep the doll? I really like it. Me. No, sorry. I don't want to give any of them to others. Entitled kid. But you have so many more. One doll won't make a difference. Me. Please give my doll back. I had been taught that being rude was a big no-no, so I was very polite, no matter how rude the other was. Entitled kid. Mom! Entitled mom comes running, looks at us, and turns to me. What did you do to my sweetie? Entitled kid. I want all these dolls. Tell her they're mine now. Entitled mom. Okay, sweetie. Towards me. These dolls are hers now. Give them to me. Me. No, they're mine. Give them back. Shut it, brat. Give me those dolls. I froze. I got scared and started crying. My parents heard this and walked to us. They see entitled kid and me both crying. Mom. What's going on here? Entitled mom. Your idiot kid hit my baby. What? I highly doubt that. My kid doesn't hit other kids unless she has a reason. Why don't we ask both of them what happened? Entitled kid. She said I could have all her dolls, but now she's saying I can't have them. Entitled mom. If my angel wants them, she gets them. Me. I never said you could have them. You wanted to take them without permission. Entitled mom loses it on me. Shut your mouth, you ungrateful brat. I started bawling. I can't handle yelling or angry people well, and the automatic reflex is to start crying. Both my parents are angry and are talking to entitled mom about how she can't just make me cry and act like it's not her fault. Meanwhile, entitled kid has put all the dolls back in the box, but she didn't leave them. She took the box with all of the dolls and runs away. Entitled mom runs after her. My parents ran after them, but they were already inside their own home. They lived on our street. We knew where they lived, so my dad, who is furious, goes to ring their doorbell. Entitled dad opens the door. Entitled dad. Yes? My dad. Give those dolls back. They're my daughter's dolls. Entitled dad. What? Dolls? I have no idea what you're talking about. He smirks and then slams the door in my dad's face. My dad, who is fuming, comes back home. He calls the police. Not soon after, the police are asking my parents what happened. A police officer walks towards me and kneels down. Officer. Can you tell me what happened, little one? Me. My best friend stole my dolls, and her mom yelled at me for not wanting to give them to her. Then they ran away with my dolls. Officer. Thank you, little one. We'll get your dolls back, okay? I nodded. After asking us what they wanted to know, the police went to the entitled home. From this part on, I wasn't actually present, but my parents told me what happened. They ring the doorbell and entitled mom opens the door. Seeing the police, with my parents behind them, she begins yelling at my mom. "Oh my God, not again! How many times must I tell you, you are not getting my angel's toys?" Police officer: "We were told your child and you stole a box of dolls from these people." "That's not true. They're my daughter's dolls. We bought them last week. Their daughter wants the dolls all for herself, and her parents have been trying to get them from us for the whole week." Police officer: "May I see the receipt then? If you really bought them, you should have a receipt." Entitled mom's face loses all color. My dad loved this part. He told me he couldn't believe this woman didn't know that this would happen. Well, we lost the receipt. So, well, we can't show you." The police officers, there were 3 if I remember correctly, looked at each other, clearly not believing it. My mom grins and taps one of the officers on the shoulder. "Mom, the dolls haven't been bought all at once. We have all the separate receipts for them though. If you look at the dolls and the receipts, you should have enough proof that the dolls are ours." The police accept this offer. Entitled mom was forced to get the dolls that instant. And of course, the receipts showed the truth. Entitled mom looked furious. Entitled kid was crying as she saw her newly obtained toys disappear. Entitled dad sees all of this and tries to blackmail my dad. Entitled dad: "Why do they get those toys? That man has stolen multiple things in the past. Those receipts must be stolen or forged." The police look from entitled dad to my dad. "Officer, that is completely irrelevant right now. But if you want a separate case, we can check all of your records." Entitled mom turns pale after hearing this and tries to shush her husband, but he has already yelled, "Do that!" My parents went home to me. Don't worry, I wasn't left home alone. My babysitter was quickly dialed in between, so I wasn't alone. And I think about a week passes. After that week of peace, we hear police sirens. I, curious as I am, run to the front door and open it. I saw both entitled mom and entitled dad being cuffed, and entitled kid was taken by what turned out to be child support. Apparently, entitled mom and entitled dad had done a lot of bad stuff. Entitled mom had apparently committed theft 3 times and had been arrested before. Entitled dad had been committing all kinds of fraud, and apparently he had all kinds of unpaid fines. I never saw any of them ever again. Next we've got entitled mother wants everyone to speak English in Mexico. In the middle of September, I went to Cancun for holidays with my mom. We're Mexican, so me first language is not English. Sorry in advance for any mistakes. From a city a bit away from there. Here's the cast for this drama scene. We've got entitled mom. We've got poor maid who just wanted to know how we wanted our eggs. We've got me, and we've got my mom. So here goes the scene. We were staying at a really fancy hotel. My grandmother paid for the room and plane for us in celebration of my 18th birthday, and we really wanted to make the most of it. This obviously meant they had a lot of foreign people staying, so most of the hotel was managed in English. Everything was great. We got a nice view of the sea and wanted to do a lot of things. Now, my skin is quite sensible to the sun. I get real red real fast, so we went to swim before breakfast. This was when we got the first encounter with entitled mom. She was a normal looking lady. She didn't even have a Karen haircut. Her and her 2 sons, both around 8 to 10, were staying in a room 2 doors from mine. So when we went out on our way to the lift, we saw them doing the same. My mom greeted politely, "Buenos dias," and seeing she didn't answer, and assuming then that she was from another place, corrected to "Good morning." And gosh, the look on her face. She looked offended and just nodded in return. She decided to take the stairs instead, even if she had a lot of things from her kids in her hands. Now, I'm a big advocate that there is no way to look Mexican, but my family is a weird Arabic/Japanese mix from 3 generations ago, and you really couldn't tell by eye where we are from. This is going to be important later. We went swimming to the beach, and everything was cool. No bad encounters. I even made conversation with a German girl and my mom with hers. A bit later, we went to the main canteen to eat breakfast. It was a big place full of food, half traditional Mexican food and the other with more international plates. And as much as I love waffles in the morning, I was feeling a bit more like chilaquiles with eggs. They had this guy making the eggs. You just went near the counter, he asked how you wanted them, and then he made them for you. That's simple. We stand in queue just a couple people away from our turn, and what do we find? That lady from earlier coming right behind us. This guy had a really broken English, but it wasn't such a problem since we just really needed to know how the different egg styles were named. His English would improve with the time working there. Worker: Good morning, how do you want your eggs? Mom: Revueltos, por favor. Scrambled, please. The guy sighed in relief. God knows how many times had passed since he last spoke in Spanish. Guy: Saliendo, señor. Coming, ma'am. He continues in Spanish. It's been a while since the last time someone from here appeared. It's low season. Entitled Mom touched my mother's shoulder. Entitled Mom: I'm sorry, but could you speak English? Most of us do, so you should as well, you know, to not make anything awkward. My mom feels uncomfortable speaking in English, so I answered. Me: I'm sorry if it bothers you, ma'am, but it's easier for him to speak his own language, and if we can help, we will. Entitled Mom: Wow, rude. It's his job to know English, but not ours to know Spanish. Me: We won't talk to you in Spanish, don't worry, but right now we aren't speaking to you. Entitled Mom: Just don't speak Spanish at all while there's people. Me: I'm really sorry, but we have the right to speak any language we want. Well, at least speak your own language and don't ridicule the rest of us for speaking English. Me: And my language would be? How would I know? Korean? Now, for the record, not me nor my mom look a bit Korean. I don't know where she got that. Yes, we look a bit East Asian, but not Korean. Me: Ma'am, Spanish is my and my mother's language. We aren't trying to ridicule you. We're just asking for scrambled eggs. See? She raised her voice. It was that simple to ask for your eggs in English. Next time, do it for a start. We were done and just turned around. The eggs were already served. My mom tells the worker in Spanish, Thank you very much. I would want another too. Fried for my daughter, please. He looked at the entitled mom and said, Claro, sinito. Of course, miss. While cracking the eggs, he continues in Spanish. This happens a lot more often than you expect. Americans get really weird. Entitled Mom walked away, and we thought we were saved from her yelling, until a few moments after, when we were already out of the queue, and she was back with the manager. It was him. He didn't want to cook my eggs if I didn't ask for them in Spanish. Manager: Is that true? The worker was frozen. I stepped in. Me: I reply in Spanish. It's not true. She wanted us to speak English at force. It wasn't even her turn yet. Manager: Miss, she says you wanted them to speak in English. Well, as it should be. They have nothing to do speaking in Spanish here. Manager, looking so resigned. Sorry, there is nothing I can do against that. They are staying here just as you are and can speak anything they please. If you wish, there is another person making eggs at the other side of the buffet. Entitled Mom: What an unprofessional place. I want you to know that me and my family are not coming back. Manager: We're sorry to hear that. Enjoy the rest of your stay. He was so done. God knows how many people like her he's dealt with. Long story short, she just stayed one more day and was always looking at us like we were some kind of bug, whispering things to her kids while directly staring. Did we care? Not really. Next we've got, I'm the comedian, but you're the joke. I do stand-up comedy sometimes. I was performing at a bar/restaurant deal and was sitting in the back taking care of some emails waiting for my set time. I went to the bar to get a drink, had a chat with the bartender for a few minutes, then got the signal I had 5 minutes till show, so went back. When I got to the back room, I realized I had left my phone on the bar, so ran out again to collect it. Enter Karen. Not her real name, of course. At a table just left of dead center facing the stage, right by the back entrance I'd been popping in and out of all night, and a big group of 6 or 7 people. But even in my brief forays out, I could hear her shrill voice dominating their conversation. I guess here's as good a place as any to mention I was wearing a yellow sweatshirt and cargo shorts. The servers wear all black. Karen: Sir, excuse me, sir. Me: What's up? Can you check on our food, please? All we ordered was some wings, and it's been like half an hour already. Me: Your server can help you with that. I'm not a waiter. What? Oh, dish boy, line cook, whatever. You work here, so just when you go back there, ask about my food. Me. Oh no, you see, No, I get it. You aren't a waiter, but do you work here? Kind of. Let me explain. Someone in her party. I don't think he's a waiter. Shut it, okay? I've got this. You work here. You can bring me my food. Just a quick little, trot, 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 carry, carry, boom, done. Me. I can't do that. Karen. Ungodly shriek. Why not? Others in her party. Karen, oh my gosh, quiet down. They tried to wave me away. I was weighing in my mind whether walking away had the higher chance of getting me fired from future gigs there, or staying and getting into it with her did. I was just going down the stay and get into it with her track when the MC gets up there and goes, now a special treat for our patrons tonight, local comedian. So I just stopped myself, lock eyes with Karen, walk backwards to the stage, unflinching. I grab the microphone. Her table is cracking up, realizing what's happened, and I say, well, I'd hoped to do a show for you tonight, folks, but looks like that won't be possible. Apparently, I've been reassigned. I start riffing about people who think you work there when you don't, and accuse you of lying, and how absurd a concept that is. But then it's too perfect. The waitress is coming out with wings and headed straight for her table. I know the waitress. I've performed here before. So I transition and I'm just like, you caught me, lady. Can't hide anymore. And I grab the wings from the waitress and I'm like, oh, Donna, I see you trying to hone in on my section. Can't you see this is my table? And all throughout the rest of the bit, I would go over and fill their water glasses, bust their plates. Whenever I hit a dry spot, I was like, all right, hold on. Gotta check in with my customers. Can I interest you in any dessert? How we doing over here? Speak into the mic, please. Karen hated it, but the others at her table were dying laughing and would even sometimes flag me down for water or appetizers. The set ends and Karen goes to file a complaint. Her friends or coworkers, whoever, try to stop her from doing so, and some leave the venue because of her. A couple stay back to try and defend me, and I told them not to worry because the manager and I were cool. But they got to see for themselves. The manager is an old school Armenian guy, and he has no tolerance for this BS. This particular venue was a biker bar before the area got gentrified, so he's used to dealing with way rowdier customers than Karen. So she's going off about mistreatment at the hands of his employees and how I'm probably not licensed to be a food server and that she wanted something done. The manager plays dumb just to see her get worked up and goes, who, this guy? Even though the entire floor saw me give her a hard time. Manager, he doesn't work for me. Karen, what the heck are you talking about? Manager, it's 11:30 p.m. He worked for me from 10 p.m. till 11 p.m. That's what I paid him for as a freelancer. That's over. Now he's just some guy. Karen, well, when he was working for you, he was rude and abstinent. Me, what, on stage? Of course I was abstinent. It's not that kind of show. Karen, you know what I mean. See, he's making fun of how I talk. Manager, he's a comedian. That's what I paid for. Karen, I was a customer treated poorly in your establishment. He was acting as a server here when he served me, and I want a refund on my meal. Or at the very least, turning dramatically to me, Gollum voice, an apology. Me, all right, I might have been a little rude towards the end there, but in my defense, she didn't tip. Manager, is that true? Did you not tip? Karen, why would I have tipped the comedian? Manager, I thought you said he was acting as a server. Karen was a little tipsy at this point, so somehow drunk logic convinced her smashing a glass would get her point across. All it did was get the manager to have her bounced. Her remaining friends apologized to the manager and said they barely knew her, and they hoped this wouldn't mean they couldn't come in there anymore without her, and he was super nice about it. I told them I hoped I hadn't put a damper on their night, and they said they can't wait to tell everyone else about Karen's outburst. So I don't have a career as a waiter in my future. Kudos to all you service workers who put up with these insufferable people day in and day out. Next we've got getting yelled at and then sweet revenge a year later. For 3 years, I was an employee of a department store that we'll call JC Nickel. I enjoyed my discount, but I only had ever gotten one raise in 3 years and found a new job luckily. One day, a few months after my lovely departure, I was shopping with my sister there. I was wearing a hoodie, looked like crap, and had 2 boxes of leftover Panda Express from lunch in my hand while my sister was trying on clothes. It was a small fitting room with only 3 rooms, and my sister was the closest to the entrance. I stood there waiting for her when a customer approached me. She was a regular, and I'm sure she recognized me from my 3 years of heck. Customer: "Go check in the back for this in my size." Very abrupt and short with me, but I still had my customer service voice. Me: "I'm sorry, I don't work here." "What do you mean you don't work here? Are you on break? You can't just get this one thing for me. You're so rude and disrespectful." Me: slowly holding up the Panda Express and gesturing to my hoodie and sweats, saying in a firm voice, "I don't work here." She huffs away. A few days later, I get a text from a friend still working there. "Hey, some lady put in a complaint about you. Didn't you quit a few months ago?" We had a good laugh and I thought that was it, until a year and a half later when I'm sitting in class. Professor: "We have an observer today. She'll be with us this week and next, and then she will be teaching you a lesson for her master's program." In walks the customer. I'm not sure if she recognized me, but I knew it was her. The day after she taught her lesson to us, she sent us anonymous evaluations she needed for her grade. Of course, knowing her background, I was harsh on her and was only honest. Unrelatable to students, delivery was harsh and cold, poor classroom management, dismissed students with questions as an inconvenience. I don't know what happened after that, but I do know they take these evaluations seriously. Even without telling my classmates what happened, they had similar responses. When I did tell them after she was long gone, they got a good laugh and were happy they demolished her in the evaluations too. Next we've got, "I don't even work at this Papa John's." So a little backstory. When I was in college, there was a Papa John's near campus that would get crazy busy on weekend nights, mostly with drunk college students who had a bad case of the munchies. I lived within walking distance and never wanted to pay a delivery fee, so often when I was one of these drunk college students, I'd just order for pickup. One Saturday night, I order a pizza for pickup, and the guy on the phone said that it would be about 30 minutes or so. I get there about that time later and find that it's basically just one guy and one delivery guy working that night. The guy making the pizzas was running around like his hair was on fire and just trying to keep up with the order log. He comes over to me and goes, "Hey, it'll be just a minute. I'm understaffed." I told him it's all good and that I'm not in a rush. Now it's about 2:15 a.m. and they are open until 3. I started a small conversation with the guy working, and he mentioned how people called in and they were so backed up they could no longer accept delivery orders, and that he kept getting calls about delivery since they disabled it ordering online. He mentioned that the calls alone prevented him from being able to even work on anyone's orders. Here, drunk me thinks, "I got this." I told him that I would answer the phone and just let people know that they would be unable to order anything for delivery while I was there. So here I am, answering phone calls drunk for a Papa John's and politely letting people know that they would be unable to handle any more deliveries for the night due to the backlog. Most people were understanding about this issue, except for one jerk. The following is the conversation from what I remember. Me: "Thank you for calling Papa John's. Unfortunately, due to the large..." Jerk: "Yeah, I'd like a large pepperoni and sausage for delivery." Me: "I'm sorry, sir. Due to the backlog of orders tonight, we are unable to take any more delivery orders." Jerk: "What the heck? Why the heck not?" Me: "We have so many delivery orders that we will not be able to accommodate them within a reasonable time, and we are currently understaffed." At this point, I was getting agitated, but as I was trying to help the guy, I tried to keep my cool. However, since the jerk could not seem to accept the situation, it got a little out of hand. Jerk: "This is BS. I demand you deliver my order ASAP, or I'll talk to your supervisor and get you reprimanded." Me: "Jerk, I don't even work here, so go ahead and buzz off." With that, I hung up, got my pizza, and tipped the guy $10 for his troubles. And shoutouts to our re-generals of the day, Chissy Spider, Smocker C, and Eckhart. Become tomorrow's re-generals by leaving as many re's as you can in the comments below.